Let me start by saying that VAR as a piece of technology works. Now, the application of that technology in Serie A has caused a lot of debates, so I'm going to tell you why it needs to stay and how I think it should be applied. Hello, I'm Nicholas Carroll. Welcome to FIF on the Couch, where today I'll be talking about all things VAR. Now, before I get into anything too complex, I want to touch upon the primary goal of the technology, which is to ensure the correct decision is being made. Now, irrelevant of your opinion on VAR, I think every football fan in the world can share this common goal. We all generally want the right decisions to be made. Now, how we achieve this is a whole nother story, but I think it's important to recognize that this is what VAR is working towards, and it has already, at the very least, ensured more correct decisions are made on the field. Now, some of the main issues that have come about this season in Serie A have been around when VAR is utilized, when VAR should overturn a decision, when do VAR officials call on the on-field ref to review decisions, and the general inconsistencies around all those three elements. Now, I'm going to run through a few examples from this season over the last few weeks. Example 1, InterVarsity. Daniele De Sena scores a goal with his hand, which is initially missed by the on-field officials. VAR reviews it, and the on-field referee is called on to review the footage and eventually overturns his original decision. Now, this is pretty much exactly why VAR was brought in, to stop howlers and hand of God type goals being allowed. Now, it was an obvious handball, an obvious no goal, so I do question why the on-field referee actually needed to go over and review the footage. Surely this is time that doesn't need to be wasted. Example 2, Fiorentina vs Spal. Federico Chiesa goes down in the box and is awarded a penalty. VAR reviews it, and it seems to be a clear dive on Chiesa's part. However, the decision is not overturned. Now, for me and for most football fans, this was quite a clear dive, a clear error, therefore the decision should have been overturned. You have to wonder how they did miss it, but in this case it seems to be a matter of human error in the subjective interpretation of the incident. And of course, VAR officials need to be held accountable for this, like any other job. Example 3, Inter vs Fiorentina. Appeals for a Victor Hugo handball go to VAR, and eventually the referee is called upon to review the footage himself, and he eventually decides that it is a handball. He overturns his original decision and a penalty is awarded. Now, in my opinion, this was a penalty. However, it was not a clear and obvious error, so I don't think it should have been overturned. The inconsistencies that have existed around when a decision should be overturned are clearly shown between Chiesa's dive and this relatively ambiguous incident which was overturned. Example 4, Inter vs Parma. There appears to be a handball when DiMarco clears the ball off the line. VAR is utilised, but the decision is not overturned. Now, this is simply another example of the inconsistency where, in my opinion, this was a lot clearer handball than Victor Hugo's, but wasn't overturned, and we know what happened with the Fiorentina match. The last example, example 5, comes from Empoli vs Roma, where the referee decided Cengiz Under had handballed in the box and awarded a penalty. Now, this went to VAR, and eventually the on-field referee, once again, was to review the footage at the halfway line, and after replay, upon replay, he eventually decided that there wasn't enough evidence to overturn his original decision. Now, this, granted, was quite a difficult decision to make. You could argue both sides as to whether it was a deliberate handball or not. So you can definitely forgive the on-field referee for not being 100% sure, but you have to wonder why the VAR officials, if they can't see it clearly on the replay, why do they then need to go to the on-field referee to see the same replays that they're seeing? If they don't see enough evidence, then surely they can just go with the on-field referee's original decision. Now, it's easy for us to sit at home on our couches and criticize. However, to be clear, I am a big supporter of VAR. So here's how I would personally implement it and how I think it should be utilized at the moment in Serie A at the very least. Firstly, the human resources and the technology is already there to be used. Therefore, there shouldn't be any reason why every goal isn't reviewed by the VAR officials. There's usually going to be 45 seconds to a minute from the goal being scored to the kickoff where they can quickly review and at the very least flag any potential issues, which is the only reason why there should be a time delay. Otherwise, it's game on as usual and no time is wasted. It's simply utilizing the resources that are already in place, and this is generally happening more often than not now. Now, when an issue is flagged, if the VAR officials cannot agree beyond all reasonable doubt that the decision was incorrect, the original decision should stand. As simple as that. In my opinion, there should never be a need for the referee out in the middle to go to halfway and review the footage himself. There needs to be authority in the original on-field decision made. So if a clear and obvious error is not seen, the original interpretation of the event should stand. I think this is particularly important for handball situations where real-time decisions are needed and not slow-motion replays. Now, the other important element to this is accountability. VAR officials should be given the discretion to overturn decisions when there is a clear and obvious error. However, they should be subject to disciplinary procedures such as suspensions or demotions to lower divisions when they are interpreting the rules incorrectly. The performance of the officials, similarly to players, should be the subject of professional criticism. So I think there's a role for Liga Serie A to actually come out, identify any incorrect decisions made, and communicate to the public what action is being made as a result of these. Of course, there are many opinions out there on VAR, and mine is just one of them. So let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree? Are you a fan of VAR? Do you want it gone? And can you see it improving and being a part of the game in the future? Let us know in the comments below. Of course, make sure you're following FIF on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have correspondents out at matches every week, so make sure you're tuning in and taking a look at some of the great content that's out there. And of course, tune in to the FIF podcast, which is usually recorded on Sunday evening European time after the final match of the day. That's it from me, so until next time, ciao for now.